Welcome to the show where we talk about the second most predetermined sport in the world. Welcome to Brunch. Let's get into it. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night. Good day, eh? Welcome to Brunch. It is good to see you. Thank you for joining us here on the longest running, maybe not the flagship, but the longest running show on Love Wrestling. If you're here, throw us a like, throw us a subscription. Let us know that you're here. Throw some thoughts in the chat. It is good to see y'all already. Sandy, good to see you. Good evening. I would have to assume it's late night for you over in Germany, but it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Let us know how you're doing, what you thought of the week in wrestling, everything in between. But Lawrence, do the same. And of course, let me know how you're doing. It's been a week. I haven't had the chance. I was fairly sick over the last little bit. Not anything worrisome, but very much like head cold shit.
Yeah.
So it's been a hot minute. I've missed you. How are you?
I'm good. Guten Tag to Sandy. See, 6 months of Duolingo just for Sandy right there. Just that one sentence. Paid off, baby.
There we go. Making those Duolingo bucks.
Yeah.
This is not a sponsored post.
No.
Sandy is yeet. Good to see you, friend. I'm glad to hear. We are going to be talking about the bloodline here in the next little bit. We are going to be watching along with a match from Love Pro Wrestling 5 from June of 2022, featuring Taryn from Accounting and Rachael Ellering. Rachael making her return to Love Pro Wrestling. I guess making her return to Alberta for the first time in 7 years for that matchup. But I want to get started with another individual who has been a part of Love Pro Wrestling over the last few years. Speedball Mike Bailey, rumored to be heading to All Elite Wrestling. Obviously, it's always great when anybody signs with a major promotion, anybody achieves that goal. I would have to assume for every pro wrestler, sort of make it as far as you can. But obviously, we got a special place in our heart here for Speedball Mike Bailey. He's been a part of Love Pro. We've done a couple of interviews. You may or may not be a fan of Friday Night Speedball for some reasons, but nevertheless, outside of stunners, man, this is a very, very good thing for a very, very good human being. Psyched to see him. A lot of people have talked about a potential debut in the C2. But let's get into it, brother. How are you feeling? Obviously, the debate's going to come up, AEW versus WWE. Let's keep that one lighthearted. But how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm very happy for him. What's weird is I knew this was coming because you mentioned interviews. My first ever interview on Love Wrestling was with him, and
Yeah,
it was legitimately, I think, like 3 or 4 days before he signed his TNA contract
that's
on Josh
right. Yeah, I
Alexander's
remember
back.
that.
Like literally, and I remember in the interview you mentioned like moving to the States soon. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's going to need a visa for that. And me not being at all good at interview, I'm like, I'm not going to follow up on this.
We live and learn.
Yeah,
We live and learn.
like but yeah, so I had a good feeling. Like everyone like initially wasn't happy that he dropped his title. I'm like, I knew his contract was coming up soon. Like he had mentioned it
Yeah,
before that it was coming up at the end of the year.
yeah.
So like it is no surprise that like sadly his time in TNA is up. But like this is somebody who definitely is universally beloved. Like the
Yeah.
one heartwarming thing is the amount of love Speedball gets on the internet from the last few years being in the States, especially, and working the indies, and how many people have come up to him and just been watching every show and becoming fans like we have. And like that's really cool. And just like honestly, I just wanted it like at the end of the day, I just wanted him to get the paycheck he deserves, which
Get
hopefully
the bag.
yeah, get that bag and getting the platform he deserves. Because like this is gonna be a massive opportunity. Like there is a litany, an infinite amount of dream matches he could have now
Right.
in AEW. Like
I think we could say that everywhere though, right?
yeah,
Like that's the thing. And I brought her up earlier, man, not to cut you off, but like the whole AEW versus WWE debate, I fucking hate it.
yeah,
Obviously the tribalism, but for me, the biggest issue is you're going to get these dream matches and you're going to get showcased pretty well wherever you go at this point when you're a guy like Speedball Mike Bailey, right?
yeah,
I hate the phrase like can't miss, but it's pretty hard to screw up with a guy as talented as Speedball Mike Bailey. He's a guy who's insanely creative. I've said this phrase a few times, but he's got a lot of give a shit to him. Like
yeah,
the amount of care that Speedball Mike Bailey puts into matches, the wrestlers around him, like it's unbelievable. There's a reason that Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling puts him in the main event on night one, right?
yeah.
The first main event in the promotion's history. Speedball's a part of. So I'm psyched. I really, really think that the C2, it's again one of those things. I've said this a million times, dude, but like sometimes this simple, easy answer is the complete right answer. That'd be absolutely perfect for him. We're about a month out from that, if I'm correct, right? Do they have a start date yet? I'll hit the
I think they announced it the like week of Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, like the day before.
Okay, sounds good. So I guess
not next week, the week after.
Americans, help us out. When's your Thanksgiving?
It's like the 27th. No. It's a 27th, I believe, 26th or 27th of November.
Isn't that like a Wednesday? I guess.
Yeah, no, the Thanksgiving's a Thursday.
Right. It's Thanksgiving long weekend for Survivor Series weekend.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Look at us thinking, putting our brains together.
Yeah.
Two of us are smarter than the internet. Well, that's not true. Some parts of the internet. Follow us on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
But obviously incredibly excited. Like there are a ton of wrestlers. I don't even know for sure if these are first time ever matches, but looking for me, like a Speedball Mike Bailey in there with a Jay White or a Hangman Adam Page. Like those are the people I want to see. Lots of love to a Ricochet and individuals like that. But I love when styles clash, no pun intended. And I'd love to see those guys in there. Absolutely, Sandy. Shout out to the boys Drew and JPJ from Firmly WWE. Tune in. That is our next live stream on Tuesday morning. And thank you for the compliment on the mustache. I appreciate it. That makes one of us who thinks it's nice, because I know Lawrence also thinks it looks like crap, and I don't blame him for it.
I didn't say anything.
I don't blame you.
Look quite handsome, Spencer.
I don't blame you, but
I'm sure you and your white windowless van are quite happy.
It's really hard to get a table for one at Chuck E. Cheese right now. But it's all in the name of fundraising. I am taking part in the Movember Foundation, or the Movember Project, excuse me. I'll put the link out there on social media in the next, I guess when the show's done. I don't like to tweet while we're live. But I'll send that out in the next little bit. We've raised $300 so far, or I guess I've raised $300 so far for the Movember Foundation, raising money for men's cancers and men's mental health. So would love if you donate, because I look like an idiot, but at least it's for a good reason, rather than the other 11 months of a year where I look like an idiot for no good reason at all. Dustin, good to see you. I'm very excited to share your project out with everybody. I sent a little teaser in the Love Pro Slack chat there. But there's recently been some names in WWE NXT that have done some indie dates. Do you ever think we'll see it to that extent that AEW wrestlers do non-AEW shows? Yeah, they already do in limited dates. I know Athena's maybe not the best example for how rarely, unfortunately, she shows up on Dynamite. But like Athena does some indie dates. I know FTR has been out for Prestige at least once, if not a couple of times. Moxley used to do them. I know when he signed his new contract, he wasn't able to. But absolutely, like even for us, Love Pro, we've had the opportunity to potentially work with Billy Starks. Just the date didn't work out in January this year. So I think they do. I hope they do more and more, really. I think it's great promotion when you're working with some of the sort of premier indies out there. I know that there are certainly some to be wary of, but it's an asset. And wrestling right now, I don't know. I'm not saying any new information to you, man, but it's hotter than ever. This I hate to say it, but this unbelievable stuff. This is never going to happen. Shit, like it's happening.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think we'll start to see it more and more.
Yeah, like I think AEW does give more leeway. That's like, I wouldn't be surprised. One of the like bonuses of Speedball signing there with allowing people to do indies, like Evil Uno runs Mystery Wrestling
Bingo
every month. Like they're still, and like he brings in AEW superstars to there all the time. You've got like technically still signed AEW, although there is a article on Fightful Select now about Danhausen being off TV, but still signed AEW. He's been working independents recently. Yeah. So like there's definitely leeway there where Speedball can still do his creative stuff outside with like Friday Night Speedball and Fightertainment in the States. So like he's still like has the potential to do those. So like it's definitely there's definitely a little more leeway there. And also he has a chance to wrestle AJ and Big Justice now.
There you go. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I've been saying that Riddler's going to hit a destroyer, man, and the internet's going to lose.
Oh yeah,
absolutely lose its mind.
5-star classic.
I am so excited. I got to be honest with you, dude. As the old man I am, I unironically love the Costco guys. I really do. I think it's hilarious. I really do. That's the sort of stuff I'd like to take back. You know that meme that was going around a couple of months ago where it's like, could you imagine showing this to a Victorian child? I want to show everybody the Costco guys. Like, I can't imagine we live in a world where my grandmother and the Costco guys both exist. If I spoke to her, I would love to show her the Costco guys just for the reaction. But anyways, real excited for that, to be quite honest with you. That being said, actually, and shout out to Kate Elizabeth on from Fightful.com. And we can talk about this a little later on because I want to get to Sandy's question. But like, pretty shitty when you've got the Costco guy on a full gear card and you can't get the women's world champion on there. Yeah. But that's an entire conversation that I want to start on later on here, maybe before we get to Rachael Ellering versus TFA. But Sandy, I'm glad you asked. Thoughts on the WWE ID program? Lawrence, I'll let you go first on this one because I got a lot of thoughts, but I'm curious on yours.
Yeah, I think like it's still very early to like see exactly what it means for the people that have been ID'd. But like I think there's the positives of it's getting eyes on, especially into younger independent wrestlers who like even the younger independent, some of these people that have been wrestling for like 5-10 years already. So like they're already veterans in their own right. So like it does, like, I like that it gives them an opportunity and gives them potential to eventually like sign full contract with WWE. So like that thing, but like there's still like I definitely have like my like sirens up of like a big corporation starting to wade into independent wrestling. Yeah, which like I'm like still waiting to see how it goes. I'm excited that it's giving a lot of people an opportunity. Like you've got Jack Cartwheel who signed, who's like been killing at GCW. I'm excited. I also want to know what they said at the Northern Crown show they're doing their first Canadian. I want to see if they're going to be working
today, which is a huge thing for us. Obviously, you know on even the Canadian end of things. How much we were even talking about it earlier there with TNA and Speedball, like how much a contract means, even just for the fact that it earns you a visa or potentially earns you a visa. Admittedly, I'm not sure how that entire process works, but obviously, if you're going to getting signed by WWE, you're going to be having to work in the United States.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Shout out to JPJ. Other than the last line of this, basketball is 100% a baseball movie. It is also a basketball movie. Can be two things at once. Two things can be true. All right.
Shout out
if basketball's not a real sport, then it has to be about, or at least I'm furious right now. I'm not going to start here. But huge shout out as well to Northern Crown, like you said. I think it's going to be huge for whoever it is. You know, I've certainly shout out to Zoe Sager out there, Vaughn Vertigo, Gabriel Fuerza. I'd have to pull up the whole card because I'm certain Northern Crown runs a great show, and I'm certain that anybody on that card would be deserving. I hate that phrase in wrestling, but deserving of also contract.
Having like both JPJ and I this summer at the Money in Bank weekend, were able to check out a Northern Crown show. Great bunch of people there. Like the bar where they held it, the brewery was really cool. It was a really, really fun time. Like we both had a great time there. Yeah.
Huge shout out to them. Never spoken to them. Would love to at some point. But yeah, it's an exciting time. With the program, and like you said, there's a lot that still has to shake out with it because we're still 2-3 weeks into this. It was pretty telling for me, and take this for what it's worth. It was pretty telling for me that you have a lot of people who aren't involved in professional wrestling, and everybody's got their right to their opinion, but a lot of people not involved in professional wrestling that were talking about how horrible this is and how it's going to absolutely eviscerate the indies and all of this sort of doomsday stuff. But it was also pretty telling that pretty well every independent wrestler that was talking about it, at the very least, was excited about it. I think for me, and like you say, if it starts to become a little bit of an overstep, it's a bit of a different story. But right now, if they're just looking to contract wrestlers, or, you know, I know it's not necessarily signing with WWE, but if this is a way to potentially keep eyes on people who, you know, contracts are a two-way street. I think people forget that sometimes. Everybody who is signed to an ID contract has signed it because they want to sign it. And if this is another way for people to potentially get closer, or get an earlier step, or get a first step towards what I would have to assume is their goal, if they're, again, signing this contract, good on them. Make hay while the sun shines, right? Wrestling, again, it's hotter than ever. And it's got the ability now to expand a little bit further than the four walls it's had in the last 40 years. I'm real excited for it. I'm really, really excited for the program. I'm very, very curious, again, how this is going to work for not just Canadians, people from the United Kingdom and Australia and Japan. And again, people who might need a little bit of a step up to get to the United States and be getting to work in either WWE, AEW, the indies out there, wherever it might work, right? Psyched for it. And like you say, Dustin, too, it's getting eyes on all of these different promotions. It's awesome. It's cool to see people finding about Wrestling Open for the first time last night or a couple of nights ago. Like, I love it. A rising tide. You know, I certainly ain't a believer in trickle-down economics, but I certainly am a believer that a rising tide raises all boats in an industry like this. And you see it in attendance. You see it in, you know, selfishly, stuff that we've done, stuff that promotions like Winnipeg Pro are doing. While the industry grows, everybody grows.
Like, just take the like I just mentioned, the Northern Crown show. The fact they announced it ahead of time does build interest in the show.
Absolutely.
That, like, people outside it didn't have, and like could potentially sell even like the last few tickets to the show.
Last few tickets, streams on IWTV or
exactly.
Triller. I think right now it's objectively a pretty good thing as it currently stands. And I stress on that last part of the sentence. But as it currently stands, if we start to get people saying that doesn't work for me, brother, maybe a bit of a different story. Do I think they'll put more focus into this than the NIL program? No. I think it'll be equally weighted. I don't know.
It's two wings of the same thing.
The best way to catch a fish is to put as many lines in the water as you possibly can, right? And I think that this is just another line in the water. Frankly, it was a pretty sorely needed line in the water in a lot of ways. You know, I'm glad that WWE is getting back to scouting the independent scene, because for the better part of a year or a couple of years between a hiring freeze and then really focusing on the NIL program, there was that lack of real independent talent. And don't get me wrong, sign talented people from wherever you can find them. If you can find a goddamn badminton player that you think will be an asset to professional wrestling, sign them, right? I certainly don't all of these people who care where people sign from, or they never worked the independents, brother. I hate that mentality. You look at people like Sol Ruca is the first name that comes to mind for me. Tiffany Stratton never stepped a lick in the ring and absolutely killing it. But I do love the idea of more independent talent getting out there, because then wrestling's more of a variety show, right? You get some different flavors in that buffet. So I'm psyched. Yes, it's a baseball movie. You're at the Pats game right now. Is that a basketball game? Fuck. Don't make me stop this car. Yeah, right now I'm really excited about the program.
Yeah. Like I honestly also was wondering, like, what Canadian school would they potentially partner with? Like going on, like I like to see that.
Me actually,
yeah.
One not critique. Who am I to critique? But like they announced all these partnerships with like the Nightmare Factory and Black and Brave and Reality of Wrestling. Shout out to them. And then they've been signing people at the independent shows. So admittedly, I'm not sure of a lot of these individuals that they signed. Like I don't know their training backgrounds, but I thought they were partnering more with schools, and it's been cool to see. I am mad at it, but it's been cool to see them go out to independent shows. But I wonder how the partnerships with the individual training schools are going to work out.
Yeah.
The greater good.
The greater good.
Don't take over Thursday nights. Look, we're all good here, man. We ain't here to stir shit up at 11 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon. That's not what we're here for. I've cursed a lot. I'm sorry. I'll throw a super chat in. I'll take care of that here. After I set up the match and we're watching along, I'll take care of that. I've cursed a little bit. I should stand by my own word. But yeah, those are my thoughts there for you on the WWE ID program. Psyched for it. Excited to see it comes out at Northern Crown today. And yeah, I'll give you the final word if you want one, Lawrence. Otherwise, you take us into the next topic. Throw me in the deep end.
All right. So, like, I definitely have feelings about what's going on with the Bloodline on SmackDown, and like,
ones in the chat. Throw your ones in the chat. We acknowledge here. Here's the thing: wouldn't have done it 6 months ago, but now he is the OTC. You've got to acknowledge that.
Yeah, for like the last few weeks, I felt like it honestly, they had time to tell this story, and it just now, like, going to the finish feels a little rushed. Like it's weird. Like the first thing is, like, it's weird to me that like Sami Zayn is like after like 1 week is like once again perfectly fine with the Bloodline, and especially Roman. Like I feel like he also got like emotionally towards, like he also doesn't have as much of a reason to hate Solo Sikoa than the other ones do. Like he's very also like bringing in, like, if this is a way to bring in Seth Rollins into it, it doesn't make any sense. Like they could have easily just made this 4-on-4. They didn't have to do it 5-on-5. Like they're like, this feels like they very like threw two people in that they needed on the pay-per-view to continue their feud. Like they're continuing a side feud. And yeah, like there is part of that where like Roman is who he is. Like he hasn't changed. It's just the crowd reaction has changed to him.
Yeah.
But like, let's like, would rather like he didn't apologize. So I get why he didn't apologize, but like also I don't understand why Sammy's fine that he didn't apologize to him.
Yeah.
Like,
and for me, man, like it's personally, I love the fact that he hasn't yet. It's consistent motivation.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, and rightfully so, that we've praised KO for the last 20 years, 25 years, is that no matter what alignment I suppose he's working, is he's consistent in his motivations. But I love it. And I do love the fact here that the story right now is basically it is trying to draw that out of Roman, is the redemption arc, the apology tour, for lack of a better way to put it. Because he's got an ego. That's one of the biggest cruxes of his character for the last 4 or 5 years. I do agree that they've sort of sped this up too quickly. Sami Zayn, especially, even with Jay, I can understand him being in it because he's still an individual character, so to speak. He's still got the separate entrance for the most part. But yeah, Sammy's a little more confusing. I wish there would have been an extra couple of weeks where they could have filled this. And I do agree with it could have been, or should have been, frankly, a 4-on-4. That being said, Seth Rollins at the end of the day is probably, even outside of Roman's own family, the biggest piece of what needs to happen in the redemption tour of Roman Reigns. He just is. And this maybe kickstarts it because, you know, maybe we're in the 5th inning at this point, but there's still a long way to go with the story of Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. And I bet you a year from now, a couple of years from now, it's going to end with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins doing the Shield fist bump. Everybody's going to lose their fucking minds, but it's got to start somewhere. Unfortunately, it just maybe didn't start for me and in the most logical place with it.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Roman loses at Survivor Series, like the old bloodline, because if like that needs to be the like effect that might trigger him having to finally apologize, because he's adding all these people and they're not they're not like a cohesive unit yet. Again,
I think Roman Reigns should get pinned again.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think he keeps losing till he has to admit to himself that his ego is what's keeping him in the way and keeping the bloodline from working. It's like a cohesive unit again. Yeah. So like I think he eventually it's probably gonna lead to a like blow off with Solo Sikoa for the actual I don't know if they're gonna eventually end up in a super bloodline or what happens to the new members of the
ultra bloodline. What is this fucking Digimon? Like
where they just like it's the late stage NWO where everyone's in the NWO. Everyone's an oos now.
Scott Norton's going to be the first person in NWO Japan and the bloodline. Yeah. I want to touch here on JPJ's point because I don't think that this part of the story has been told well. But for me, the story isn't everybody aligning again with Roman specifically. It's aligning together to take out the bigger evil, if that makes some sense. You know, even Jay, I think they could have done a better job with it because the story should have been uniting to take down Solo, not uniting to help Roman, if that makes some sense. Because there is that nuance to that conversation. You know, if you're banding together because you're somewhat forced to, because you've got to take down this greater evil, which they've been trying to build a new bloodline as, and I think they've actually done a pretty good job of over about the last month. Like Solo's finally starting to hit. Fatu's Fatu. Yeah. I think they finally started to get there. I think that should have been where the story was more directed towards, is uniting to take down the greater evil rather than uniting to help Roman Reigns. Yeah. That makes sense? Yeah. I hope it makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. But I've been wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I'm psyched for it. I think it's obviously going to be Seth Rollins. Yeah. Like, who else could you possibly bring in if you're going to be bringing in Bronson Reed? It's not going to be Cody.
No, because Cody's tied up with KO right now.
Yeah.
That looks like that's going to be the match.
I certainly hope so. You know what? Screw it. Have KO win.
Yeah.
And it'll screw up everything I've said for the last few months as far as where I think wrestling or wrestling on the road to WrestleMania is going to go. But I would always be okay with KO as a champion. Always there for it. Sorry, I'm just reading Drew's comment here. I'm bad at reading and talking at the same time. I'll just bring it up on the screen. Thought Rock would be at Survivor Series. Think they dragged this out a little bit more. Saturday night's main event, and I think a lot of people are forgetting that they're going to be trying to make that a bigger thing. I could see The Rock being there, but I also could see The Rock appearing at Survivor Series and somehow assisting in the War Games match. Yeah. Like, he's a TFA board member. It could quite literally be as easy as him walking out, telling the dude to open the gate. He'll have to. Like we saw at WrestleMania, The Rock can basically just do what he wants.
Yeah. Like, I think it's going to be sort of like, really, he's either going to cost somebody the match or show up sort of like CM Punk did at the end of last year's Survivor Series and set something up for
like he did at the end of, was it Backlash?
Yeah, Backlash. I feel there's going to be
it wasn't Backlash.
No, it was a few months ago.
Yeah. Why am I blanking?
Was it SummerSlam?
I'm not smart. That's why I'm blanking. But why am I blanking? We'll figure it out. Across the bridge. It was end of Full Gear. I made me laugh. Yeah, Roman Reigns is he's going to show up with a golden egg at Survivor Series this year. It'll be great. He finally got it back after everything. Where was I going with that? Thank you guys for the comments. Again, I'm just bad at reading and all of that sort of stuff. But yes, I think he's going to be at Survivor Series. I can see him getting involved in the match. Like, yeah, even that couple of months ago, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but Solo Sikoa at the end of sort of the first Roman Reigns reunion, it's all part of the plan. It's going to be Rock Reigns in some way, shape, or form at WrestleMania. It has to be. It's just going to be. Is this confirmed? I feel like I've actually read this now that you mentioned this, JPJ. KO and Cody on Saturday night's main event. Then what do you do with Cody at Survivor Series? Cody and Gunther? No. Crown Jewel Championship defense? I'll leave. I'm sorry. I deserve a moment of silence after that. I'm sorry. Will Paul Heyman be at War Games? That's an interesting question. And Drew, I know you mentioned it there earlier too on Roman Reigns at the end of the show. I don't know. I don't know if you get Paul Heyman back until like the Rumble, to be honest with you. I think you have to have Paul Heyman back in a Roman Reigns singles match. Like, I think that's the next step. I don't know. I don't think you're going to see him because we're 2 weeks from Survivor Series?
Yeah.
I kind of hope not. I feel like, again, that's going to, when Paul Heyman comes back, that's got to be where, the bloodline, I guess, resurges, for lack of a better way to put it. Like, that's got to be where the bloodline gets back to their winning ways. And again, I think Roman Reigns has to take a pin at Survivor Series. Like, this has to be the downfall and redemption of Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, also, like, I think there's a chance he shows up at Survivor Series solely because, like, they started teasing it this week. And, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, they're making their entrance and he comes out from, like, behind them.
I hope not. I hope not. I love Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's going to be the weirdest way because the difference maker usually should be a professional wrestler. But, like, he right now is the missing piece of the bloodline. That's like he just is. He's got to be the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak.
Yeah. I agree with JPJ. He's the one that convinces Roman to stop being a dick. Like
I don't think Heyman comes back until Roman stops being a dick. Because again, here's the thing. What was it? May, where Paul Heyman had that promo backstage where he said, I haven't heard from Roman Reigns since WrestleMania. Who knows if they've even talked since then? This could be the first time that Roman's tried to reach out to Paul Heyman, apparently in months, unless I'm forgetting a story beat. Right?
Yeah.
For me, Paul Heyman is still the victim of Roman Reigns being a dick. Through the fact that if that was the first attempt that Roman's made to contact Paul Heyman after he goes through a table, after not protecting him from Solo in the post-WrestleMania, like, Paul Heyman's probably the guy who has the right to be the most mad at Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Right? So I think you need to see that apology from Roman first, or at least some first step forward before Heyman comes back. I don't think Heyman comes back while Roman's still, it's a weird way to put it, but like emotionally turbulent.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman should be the first guy Roman apologizes to. Because Paul Heyman's probably got the right to be most mad. Everybody else so far has forgiven him other than KO and Randy Orton. Truly.
Yeah.
And the new bloodline. But they're the heels.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my thought. I don't want to see Paul Heyman until Roman either starts to take that first step forward or the bloodline gets back to like winning because Paul Heyman comes back.
Yeah. I agree.
Thank you. Thank you for your agreement. It's because I made an excellent point. I am very smart. Follow me on Blue Sky for more hot takes like this. Thanks. I'm really trying to be more active on social media. I like it there a lot more than I like this stupid little X machine. Not a very fun thing. Hey, did you know that there was a streaming event on Netflix on Friday night?
I do. I literally just want to say, like, everyone rightfully a little nervous about Raw going there in January
I
now.
thought you were going to say about Mike Tyson's health. I was like, yeah, everybody's got it right.
Hey, in all fairness, for somebody who's almost 60, he looks great. Shouldn't have been a boxing match.
Posted he almost fucking died in June.
Yeah, like insane.
Like what?
Insane. And then
how was this sanctioned?
Yeah,
you know how?
Money.
Okay, so I'll give you 2 words: money and Texas.
Yeah,
that's the other word, because I don't know. And again, athletic commissions are a scam. They're like TK Jewelers.
Oh yeah,
TK Jewelers is a scam. Watch, turn my wrist. Watch broke into 1,000 pieces. 1,000 pieces fell into her soup. Sorry. Yeah, there was a streaming event on Netflix. I unfortunately lost money betting on Mike Tyson. It just made sense. The odds were pretty good. I was really hoping.
I could have told you Mike Tyson was not going to win that fight.
Oh, of course. I don't think anybody thought Mike Tyson was going to win that fight. And if you legitimately did, I kind of think you're crazy. It's kind of funny, but like Mike Tyson is going in there with the thought of the one lucky punch that Logan Paul kept making part of his gimmick. And it's nothing against Mike Tyson, but like it is a 27-year-old man fighting a 58-year-old man.
Yeah.
And that's not a shot. That is a fact. That is what happened. Mike Tyson made $25 million. I would get knocked out for a third of that.
It was get knocked out as a sparring exercise. But yes, everyone that was all the wrestling fans who were
sorry. He's doing a little. He's got his bandana on, by the way.
Oh, he's looking like dead.
Everybody asks who's a good boy, but not how's the good boy.
Yeah. Like he's thinking about philosophy at the same time as he looks out the window.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You know what, Shaw? I wouldn't be. And hello, shout out to you. I wouldn't be shocked if it was a work at all.
Yeah.
Like this was professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It just was. Like I literally, if you heard the cold open for the show today, like we are talking about the second most predetermined sport in the world this week. Yeah. Because that show, Mike Tyson, and again, I ain't taking anything away. Look, let's get real here. The fight sucked. 60 million people tuned in on Netflix was the official report from what Brandon Thurston tweeted out earlier today. They made something like 70,000 people. And is it Arlington Stadium? Arlington Stadium.
Dallas, where Dallas Cowboys play.
Yeah, I hate it a lot because personally, I used to be a big boxing fan as well too. My dad was. I'd like to watch with him. The sport of boxing has completely changed. I don't know if it's for the better, but it's making a hell of a lot of money, so it ain't going to change back anytime soon. It just ain't, which kind of sucks. But yeah, rematch at WrestleMania 41. You know who the next dude he's got to go with? And I was actually thinking, because people have been saying, where does Jake Paul go from here? I've got an insane suggestion for you. Butterbean.
I think Butterbean is very, very old and not in shape.
Well, do you think that Jake Paul's opposed to fighting guys like that?
Yeah, no.
Goddamn Jimmy Carter next.
Yeah.
Paul Carter.
There's also like no winning for him there, like at all. No. Like you just look like you just fought an old man. Like there's. Yeah, you beat. No, you can say you beat Mike Tyson.
You know how there's winning. Let's just get real here. We said it earlier. Money.
Yeah,
money. If $45 million is like the number that I saw going out there, if that's accurate, again, I will go out there and lose a fight for far less money.
Yeah. I also say this: everyone that was freaking out about the Raw coming to Netflix and like it buffering every 2 seconds, I heavily doubt that Raw every week is going to do 60 million views. Every single week, like you're doing one, like
not with that attitude, it's not.
Yeah, like there's a reason why it crashed. Is because there was a massive amount of people watching it one time. Like I think it'll be very much fine. Like they've literally the other live event they did was Kobayashi versus Joey Chestnut, the hot dog eating contest, and that went fine.
It worked fine because Rey Mysterio was there.
Yeah,
and Omos. That's what we need. You want things to go well. Ray's on Raw, just put Omos back on SmackDown. We're good. Obviously, things work fine when they're there.
Yeah,
it was that like the roast of Tom Brady are the only couple of live things that I think they've done.
Yeah, like this is also a great test run for them heading into January. And also they've got a football game on Christmas Day. They've got 2 Christmas football games on Netflix. So yeah, I think this was a test run that didn't like, they know that they need to be able to get like, just in case, fix the problems of like that many people watching a live stream at once, but like on any given Raw on a Monday or a Friday, whatever, it's still gonna be on Friday SmackDown if they don't move the shows.
SmackDown doesn't get a shitty new logo too.
Yeah,
I hate that logo.
The logo's so bad. It's so bad.
It's almost as bad as that new Coca-Cola AI ad. Yeah, Sandy, you're bang on. And Dustin, I do think that there's going to be, maybe not a draft, but there's going to be a bit of a shakeup, a superstar shakeup, if you will. Yeah. Because like you said, Sandy, as well, not only do they want Roman on Raw, I believe they've also said that they would like Cody Rhodes and I think CM Punk. Names, I think busted open, if I remember who I was listening to right. And shout out if I'm giving credit to the wrong people. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think those were the 3 that I remember being specifically mentioned. Becky Lynch is rumored to be back before Raw as well, too, the Observer had said. So I wouldn't be shocked as well to see her there. But I think there is going to be some level of a shakeup. I don't know if they're going to do a full-on draft. They only did a draft in, again, May or June, didn't they?
God, I don't even remember.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Yeah, they did.
SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah. Actually, no, it's double S. So it's Smack Sound and Ba. Smack Sound.
Sounds like a Kid Rock lyric.
Yeah.
Smackdown da ba da ba da ba. That was horrible. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Although Kid Rock and Triple H and Stephanie was at the Trump rally last night.
Yeah, don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
which
is also they call UFC now.
Look, people know very clearly I like to think where I stand as far as my politics go and all of that. And I'm not here to talk about it because people certainly know where I stand on it.
Yeah.
Not a fan. But I don't know. Keep politics out of sports, they say, until they only put politics in sport.
Until they're politics.
Bad times had by all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? And you make a great point as well, too, Shaw. I'm very curious to find out what the actual viewership on Raw on Netflix is going to be. Number one, I'm excited there's not going to be any more TV ratings discourse. That's fantastic. But I am curious as to what the viewership's going to be. I would have to expect that it's going to kick up, to be honest with you. At least speaking for me, and I know a lot of this is just anecdotal evidence, but like I've got far more friends with a Netflix subscription than I've got friends with cable at this point in my life. Like I'm a 32-year-old guy. I'm not directly in a target demo by any means, but like I would have to assume that viewership's going to go up, especially right off the bat. I wouldn't be shocked to see Raw break 3 million. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the premiere of Raw on Netflix drew you like 4.5. I really wouldn't. Now it'll probably drop from there. I don't know if it'll be a consistent, but like if I was a betting man and somebody put the over under at 3 million for the Raw debut on Netflix, I'd bet the over. We need to get a betting sponsor. How many times have I talked about betting today? And you know what? I don't even like sports bet all that often. I really don't. I don't like just throwing money away. I own a wrestling promotion. I'm already doing that. That's just a joke. Haha. Yeah, I'm really hoping we don't have the same. I'm lucky enough that I've got a bigger family. So we got the family plan on Netflix. So I'm lucky enough there. I'm really hoping that continues. Sandy, I don't know about Germany. Speaking for Canada, we've got everything heading over to Netflix. Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I believe the PLEs are going to be there. Essentially, they're just moving the network over from what I can sort of tell. I don't know about the archived content and stuff, but we'll see. Yeah, 80% of the world can now. 80% of the world watching Netflix. It's wild. Even just people taking a flyer on it is going to be insane. Yeah, very, very excited to see what this does. And then obviously AEW on Max as well too. Obviously they'll still be on traditional cable, but the ability to stream on Max as well is going to be massive for them. Yeah. Did you know streaming is the way of the future?
I'm going to quote thing from 30 Rock. Technology is cyclical, man. We're gonna back, like streaming it, like with all the streaming services, we're basically back into cable. Especially
Yeah.
streaming services are starting to bundle with each other. So we've literally just gone back to cable.
This is how they're going to convince us to have more kids. Is you just got to buck up and get the family plans for everything. Get them included in your phone plan. Thank you. Tell us. Do we want to watch a match? I guess we've got 15 minutes left, eh?
Yeah.
Let me load that up. I was at least smart enough to download them. However, if you want to, while I'm getting this loaded up here, do you want to plug what we've got going on here on Tuesday night on the old, I've got it under the reel in the brand. Tuesday night after NXT. What's going on, Lawrence, as I try and find freaking buttons on here. There we go.
There it is.
Sorry, I clicked and I yelled. Huge shout out to Whale and the Wolf who allowed us.
Okay. Do you want to play?
I've got it now. I should have communicated.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Whale and the Wolf who allowed us to use their song "Do It Loud" for LPW 5. That was the tune that you heard the little bit of right off the bat there. However, right now we're going to be tuning into Rachael Ellering versus Taryn from Accounting. But on Tuesday, you're getting a double dose of Love Wrestling. Tune in at 8 p.m. Mountain, 10 p.m. Eastern as Drew and JPJ return with Firmly WWE, recapping the week, previewing the week, and everything in between with the World Wrestling Entertainment Federation. That was confusing on my end. Sorry for that. And then on Tuesday night, immediately after NXT, I thought it was just an overlay. I didn't know there was music. So we got Donovan Dijak, we've got Anthony Green, we've got Little Mean Kathleen, and the Thickness, Reed Matthews. It's a four-way match for the Quizplex Championship. Everything is going towards Connor's Cure for this one. So if you'd like to donate, feel free to head to their website, donate directly, let us know on our DMs. Can you DM on Blue Sky? I think you can, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So let us know on either X, let us know on Instagram, let us know on Blue Sky, let us know somehow that you've donated to Connor's Cure and who your points are going towards, because we were raising money for another good cause on Tuesday night, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Yep.
Thank you. I love the rope colors as well, too. It's been one of my favorite things about just our branding is the fact that when you see a Love Pro Wrestling match, you know it's a Love Pro Wrestling match. Because I think we're the only ones with these colors. I think. That's me knocking on wood. Anyways, let's get going. This was Love Pro Wrestling 5, Anarchy in the YEG. Taryn from Accounting taking on the returning Rachael Ellering. Rachael Ellering hadn't been here, like I said, off the start of the show in about 7 years, if I remember correctly. And a fun little fact about old Spencer Love here is I was actually in Edmonton for Rachael Ellering's first match in Edmonton. It was Rachael versus Giselle Shaw. Lance Storm was the special guest referee. Both of them were training at the Storm Wrestling Academy at the time. So, yeah. But after Rachael left Alberta, obviously traveled the world, went to WWE, and this was a few months after she made her return to the independents. So very, very cool. Very, very lucky to have Rachael Ellering part of our history. And a hell of a human being.
With Rachael Ellering, there's a little bit of an example right there.
Right. Quizplex is going to be another blast. Every single month, I say to myself, what happened to our silly little quiz show? Which is the biggest compliment that I can give it, because it has evolved into just its own monster. I love me some Quizplex.
The fact there's, we've mentioned it before, but now there is, after a few years of doing it, like 3 years now, there is so much lore to Quizplex.
I was actually texting Zach earlier today. I want to get a list of all of our Quizplex champions. I don't know if we've got one somewhere, because at this point we're going to need to do, oddly enough, like boxing, and we're going to have a current champion and a lineal champion.
Yeah.
Taryn looking to escape and takes the side headlock. Both ladies know this is not.
Yeah, I'd be curious. We should do a Quizplex.
Well thought out plan you've got to have.
A Quizplex on the history of Quizplex.
Rounding Ellering down to the
like
canvas.
Who was the first ever champion, chat?
Yep, who has answered the most questions correctly? We could do a deep dive in the archives. Oh, heck yeah! Time for me to open a booster pack on Pokemon TCGP. All right, you guys, we're going to do a virtual card pull here during Rachael Ellering versus TFA.
outside the ring.
This is again an unsponsored post.
Very impressive, and now
But
kicking through the ropes.
I'm happy to support Pokemon. They're obviously down on their luck. The highest grossing franchise of all time. All right, so we're going to be opening one of the Mewtwo packs.
Held on to the wrist control and driving the knee.
We've opened with a Kakuna,
Into that midsection.
a Psyduck,
Wrist control, very important.
These
Come
are
on.
one right now.
a Dubwool.
Going for the cover, hooking the leg.
Oh, sick! Gardevoir, good pull, good little pull for old Spence. And what do we got next up? Sick! And a Gengar. All right, that Psychic deck's going to be looking good. Come at me, bros.
You
I
see
will.
the
Your ass is at Pokemon TCGP.
the Pittsburgh Pirates,
Up into the fireman's
they offered like a massive package. Like I wonder how
Oh,
much it is.
yeah.
Like
Absolutely
40 years
nuts.
worth of season tickets for a Paul Skeens rookie card if somebody pulls it.
Here's the tough part of it. What if you don't live in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, exactly. That was my thing. Like, I would
You're
want the
really
cash
hoping that the
value of-
person who pulls that card lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hang on to that top rope. Terran charged
Is
in.
Pokemon Go still a thing? Yes.
Yeah.
It absolutely, well, certainly not to the level it was in summer of 2020.
Oh man,
I remember people like running because I work out of the hockey arena for the hockey team I work for. And it's a Pokemon. There's a Pokestop and there's a gym like in and right beside the arena itself. And I remember people like sprinting back and forth through that thing when like some of the Pokemon were coming by.
like I remember being down
where she's going, what she's doing, and what's next.
The AMP forum, and like there's a small park there that's like sort of like there's like the homeless people that are there must have been so confused because there was just a crowd of like a few hundred people.
Oh yeah,
just, like blowing through because that park just happened to have like rare Pokemon. Like
yep,
just like
Oh, yeah.
insane. I was standing at the bus.
Snorlax or a Dragonite
Wait.
coming by. Look out!
Oh yeah, waves of people at like 8 p.m. at night out of nowhere looking for these Pokemon.
You know, one of my favorite parts about the Rec Room and just the sort of setup that we had like lucked into in a lot of ways is having that stage there and having the ability to go and fight on the sort of entrance ramp, quote unquote.
Oh, look at
Did
that.
you hear that?
Yeah.
The new buddies.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, beginning of a friendship.
Hold on.
A quick shout out to my new buddies, JPJ and Pluggo from Between Two Beards. I had a great time with them a couple of weeks ago.
This must have been when we started doing the preview shows on
Yeah.
here.
Now Rachael Ellering going to work.
And now, shout out to For Exposure. They've got a live chat with Paralera, Harakarani, and Sheikh Shabazz. They launched that yesterday. And I believe the plan is, we're still confirming whether it's going to be Thursday or Friday. The plan is that they're going to do a live Love Pro Wrestling preview before LPW. They're our pre-show panel.
Trying to hyperextend the wrist, hyperextend the elbow.
So I'll let them confirm that. I hope you heard that, JPJ.
Yeah.
I know you're at the Pats game right now. I don't know if you're listening in.
Tara now just trying to keep Ellering away from her.
Sometimes you can hear when you listen to the older matches back, and this is entirely on me. You can hear where my audio editing sometimes wasn't the best, and you can hear some stuff like double tracked. One of these days, I'm going to go through. You know, I never understood for years why bands remastered their albums.
Yeah.
But I fully understand
Yeah.
why like bands remaster their albums now. Is because sometimes you're just like, oh,
Shoulders compromised.
oh,
Taryn trying to
that could be better.
keep that elbow bent the wrong way. Shoulders down. Able to kick out right away.
Yeah, thanks, Dustin. Shout out to Pluggo. Like, shout out to everybody. It's been very, very cool over the last few months to see everybody branching out and getting more interviews done and doing their own content. Like, Love Pro Wrestling's growing, baby.
And those shoulders, that shoulder and that elbow seems to be.
Yep, Sandy, bang on. Learning by doing. I crap you not. I am the only person who's ever edited any Love Pro Wrestling matches. And it was certainly a learning experience for me right off the bat. But I like to think I've gotten fairly good at doing it. We turn our shows around fairly quickly. I think they're well edited. I did make, if you watch back the show on IWTV this month, I did have one botch in the production that I'm certain everybody will notice. But yeah, shout out to everybody. I thought it was I'm about halfway through it right now. I was actually working yesterday. The Crusaders had a game on Friday and they had a game on Saturday. Shout out to a big set of back-to-back wins at home this weekend. But obviously back-to-back are my busiest weekends. So I've only gotten about halfway through. It's like watching. It's sometimes easier. I listen to a lot of podcasts on my drives, but I just like watching interviews if they're designed to be a video interview. This match itself was TFA's fourth defense, of the LPW Challenge Championship. Before this, she had defeated oh gosh, who was it? She had defeated Stephen Crow, actually, at LPW 2. They were the first match, actually, in, I guess, our canon events. That makes sense. Second match was Chris Parrish, who had the LPW Challenge Championship after he'd converted it to an actual wrestling championship. And then LPW 4 was against Nicole Matthews. And TFA's run with the challenge title was the second longest now run with a title in LPW history, 316 days. Oh, hell yeah. But currently in the midst of the longest reigning title run in Love Pro Wrestling history, ironically enough, with Stephen Crow. I have a bunch of questions for like an LPW specific Quizplex. I want to do that. Maybe that'll be our December. Maybe that can be our December Quizplex. Zach, you're watching.
Hey, Donovan Dijak, here are these LPW specific questions.
No, like do it as like a special hit.
Yeah, I know.
I think that'd be a blast. You would like the commentator, referee. Yeah, we can do something fun. Or find 3 fans who have been like long time people. That's been one of the nicest things. Is we've really built a really cool community.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that you see each and every show. I'm friggin' psyched to see them all. I love pro wrestling. TFA does rule. Maybe not a huge fan of some of the methods to retain those titles over the last little bit, but TFA certainly rules.
Yeah, I've got my ride or die hat here somewhere.
And they're so cool.
Yeah.
Aaron using those knees and then just spiking the back of the skull of Ellering into the canvas.
Gotta go see my chiropractor soon. Not for any specific reason. We're just getting to the end of the year. I gotta run those benefits out.
Yeah.
Hooking both legs. That could be it. Oh, Ellering escapes it too. Both ladies emptying the arsenal here in pursuit of being LPW Challenge champion. Able to shift her feet, avoid that pile driver. Oh, she held on to the arm of that.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate that. I still do think that you were the furthest out or the furthest distance that Love Pro Wrestling merchandise has ever traveled.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't think she could stay in that crossover.
I had to have Speedball Mike Bailey mule me my merch because I was seeing him the next day at Crossbody Pro Wrestling. And I messaged him like, could you bring me this hat and this shirt, please? And thank you.
I would appreciate it.
Which, by the way, coming up in a few weeks, Crossbody doing a 24-hour stream.
Cool.
Ben Oatman's on with a bunch of different people.
Rad.
Yeah, for a charity.
He's like a 24-hour like wrestling show?
No, he's gonna. I think also gonna be live matches involved, but like playing games.
Sorry, I've got some sleep in my eye that I just noticed. Thank goodness I noticed it 59 minutes and 22 seconds into the stream.
Playing games, watching matches.
This Friday is going to be an absolute blast. We'll talk about that here after this show, after this match. During this show, after this match.
Ellering back to her feet and now toying, playing with her food, if you will. But again, Karen from accounting has that bitch switch. You told him too much, he's going to turn on you in a hurry.
That's a pretty nice little turn of phrase.
Yeah.
Morris is so good. That's one of the things that any watch-alongs, it's not just this. I love listening back to commentary. I really, really do. When you've got a great commentator,
Yeah,
it adds so much to a pro wrestling match, and I think Boris is a great commentator. I feel bad talking over him sometimes. Sandy, let me tell you, I have tuned in to Firmly WWE fairly often, and I would agree. It'd be a nice little program to have a Firmly NXT. Consider it green lighted, but I know that that's a Drew and JPJ decision, and they've got other stuff to do as well too.
Yeah.
Did I ever do any ring announcing for Love Pro Wrestling? Yes, I did, but yeah, I did. I'll leave it at that for right now.
Back in 1942.
No, we can chat
a
about
real
it.
news
It's
man.
not necessarily going to put over.
Yeah. When we could smoke on air.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah.
Oh. TFA with that top rope blockbuster. It used to be so sick. It still is whenever she busts it out. See, this is what I mean. You can somewhat hear in my announcement the double tracked audio. So I'm just going to get rid of my bad editing there and say thank you guys for tuning in as we watched along there with Rachael Ellering versus TFA. Hell of a match. Hell of a couple of individuals. And one of them's, like you said, Dustin, as I roll down my sleeves, not even up my sleeves. Boris usually does this, and he's better than me at it. But one of them's in action this Friday night in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, as we host LPW 32. Anyway, here's Wonderwall at the Rec Room, South Edmonton Common. Kushida debuting in Western Canada for the first time ever, taking on Mars, the specialist, for the LPW Grand Championship. Michael Richard Blaze taking on the returning Thickness Reed Matthews for the LPW Challenge Championship. Like you mentioned, Dustin, Ride or Die defending the titles from Paralira, the team they took them from in November of last year. Devin Dangerous heading to Alberta for the first time, taking on the Rads. Who knows how that one's going to go? T.Y. Jackson taking on the debuting Nasty Nate Nixon. Real excited for this one. Nate's been all around Alberta, but a first time in Love Pro. And just announced, Eli Surge defends the LPW Scramble Championship against Dean Richter, William Taylor, Jack Pride, and Barricade. Real excited for this month's card. It's going to be an absolute blast. If you guys have the opportunity to come out, if you're in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, or the surrounding area, head out. It's our last show of the year. We always go bigger, better, and badasser for our last shows of the year. It is going to be our final one until we return to Rogers Place on Friday, January 24th for the Oil Rumble 2. So come check it out. You're only going to get to see Kushida with Love Pro as it stands. So frankly, just why wouldn't you? He's badass as hell, and that match is going to rule. I hope you guys are there. If you can't be there, tune in live on IWTV. You can check them out for a subscription for a low cost for lots and lots and lots of professional wrestling. In fact, the most professional wrestling on the independent end on the planet can be found there. That was like a very Yoda-like sentence. Sometimes I find I talk in like passive voice, which ain't all that cool. We'll get there eventually. I can't be perfect at this. I can't even be good at this sometimes, I guess. Shout out to JPJ. He'll have some news coming out about some cool things happening in December, not on December, in December. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Lawrence, obviously, you'll get the chance here in a sec to plug where people can find you on your social media. But stay tuned to everything that the guys here and the gals here are on Love Wrestling CA are doing in their personal time as well, too. We got a lot of great people here. You can follow all of us wherever podcasts are played, videos are viewed, or awesome content's created by awesome people at Love Wrestling CA. And like you mentioned there, Dustin, before I let Lawrence plug his stuff and we close this show out here, there is a no ropes gauntlet match on Thursday night at Love Pro Wrestling CWS number 20. Very excited for that one as well, too. We've never done a no ropes match in Love Pro. So the Thursday night shows, they're just $10, and we offer a lot of, we obviously do on Friday too, but it's a real unique night there on Thursday. And that's all I'll say about these ones. Yeah. So check them out. Lawrence, where can the people find you, brother?
Yeah, you can follow me at Blue Sky, as in the name, because I'm trying to build up that audience so I could formally leave Twitter and the hellscape that's begun. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Sawyer Rec, who retired last night. Had a great few matches, like honestly somebody that if she wanted to, should have been signed to a company. I felt very talented, like in both like in outside of death matches and just like regular matches.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing talent. I'm happy that they're moving on and finding something better to do. But yeah, Sarah Wreck absolutely rolls and had a great night last night at GCW.
Hell yeah, man. I like it. Always closing out with the positivity. Thank you guys. I am positive that we would love to see you again next week. See, I'm getting better at this. Next week, we'll be back here on Love Wrestling's YouTube channel. Same bat time, same bat channel. Hopefully, same great content. You're going to get a lot of different co-hosts, but hopefully you're going to have one great time right here on Love Wrestling's Brunch Gimmick. So thank you for being here for this one. Leave a like. Follow us at Love Wrestling CA. Throw us a subscription. All of that good stuff. But thank you for supporting today. We will see you, friends, on the next one. Take care. Love y'all.